Joining us now on our program is Elsie Addington. She's with the Golden Rain Foundation, and they meet on the first Tuesday of each month right here in the community center, and it's also live here on Village Television. Thanks for joining us this morning. Kind of a rainy day out there getting to the community center.
I was surprised. It was so beautiful last evening, and the sky was blue, and the sun was going down, and then this morning everything was really wet. But
we could use the rain though, right?
Yes, exactly. Any kind of rain is good for me. I grew up here, and to this day, it starts to rain, and I usually go running outside just to feel it, you know?
Yeah. Now, you have a couple things you want to discuss regarding some activities that the Golden Rain Foundation is in the process of.
I do. As a thank you, as you know, we had is that the camera?
That's your camera.
Well, as you know, we had our meeting on the 1st of November, and just a few days ago. So one of the things we talked about, this is kind of an extra thing I wanted to add in here. We talked about defunding obsolete GRF projects. And what that is, a lot of people don't realize we do this, and we don't do it. Staff does it. Once a year, they go over the budget. Included in that is a project log, is one of the places we pull facts from for our budget. And we put aside, you know, like any budget, you put aside this amount of money for groceries, and you put aside this amount of money for a new car, and this amount of money for whatever. And then on an annual basis, we go over these project logs, which of course are not groceries and cars. They're actually lots of vehicles and roofing and clubhouses and lots and lots and lots of projects. And we go through, and if something has, either the project's fallen through for some reason, or it turned out it wasn't as necessary as we thought it was, or it came in a lot cheaper than we thought it was, but we still have money set aside for that project. For whatever reason, we go through, and staff points these things out, and the board studies them, and we defund the obsolete GRF projects on an annual basis. So a lot of people don't realize that those projects don't just stay on there for years and years and years. Right. They get reviewed every year. And some things obviously are going to stay on there. Right. Roofing, allotments, and painting, stuff like that, that's going to stay on.
And I'm sure a lot of that is discussed at the committee level, because I'm sure maintenance and construction, the community activities committee, they seem to have a lot of projects in line. And as those projects disappear for whatever reason, then they, you know, clearly would tell their members that, hey, this is no longer going to be progressed through our usual chain. Absolutely. And it kind of just clears the deck for a little bit. And
then it finally gets up to the big board. You're absolutely right. It goes through the committee process, and then it comes up to the big board. And there was obviously no objection on the first to defunding those obsolete projects. Now, this is the real stuff, and this is pretty exciting. So under unfinished business, we had we entertained a motion to approve the Garden Center operating rules, and there was actually, this has been going on for about a year at least, and we had but we finally got an August initial notification, but then it was revised in September, then it was postponed, then there was a 28-day notification, and for member review and comments, and so finally on the 1st we approved the new Garden Center operating rules. So that was a victory, and just to get it finished, that was good. Had a lot of input on that one. And then let's see. Okay, under new business, we entertained a motion. This is worded funny, but that's because it's in legalese. All right. We entertained a motion to approve religious church club request for exception to clubhouse holiday hours. Whew. Because it turns out that January 1st falls on a Sunday. Okay. And a couple years ago, we passed a thing, holiday rules, not holiday rules, but holiday hours for staff. Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty much that staff wouldn't be here for certain big holidays, which is appropriate. July 4th,
Right.
Christmas, you know, the biggies. Well, New Year's Eve is a real biggie, and it falls on a Sunday this year. So there was a move, but then you get into, well, we have several churches here, so if this church wants an exception, don't we have to give an exception to everybody? Well, on the one hand, but should it be volunteer people that work or not volunteer? It has to be staff. We have to have a minimum number of staff there. And then and this just went on and on and on. And so for this year only, we've, and then we're going to figure it out. Obviously, we need a policy. We weren't looking at that. It's every 7 years, I think, or something like that, that New
falls
Year's.
on those days.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And so we want to get ahead of that. And so we're going to make a policy that's more inclusive. But for right now, we granted their request. We figured out all the overtime, how much the extended fee would be. And so that's what that's all about. Whew, it was a big deal. It sounds relatively easy, but there's more aspects than you might want to think to some of these. So one of them was, the next one was to entertain a motion to approve the Equestrian Center operating rules. And now this one was a lot more manageable. This one was a November initial notification, and it was pretty much, here's the rules, and everybody agreed with them pretty much. And so that is on 28-day notification as well. I think it says on the, yeah, it is.
Right.
Well, the religious one's on 28. No, the religious one got approved. I think that one did not go on 28-day. No, well, now we have a, I don't know if that was on 28 days or not.
Right.
I guess it was on 28 days. But it says, anyway, doesn't matter. I'm good. So the Equestrian Center operating rules, no problem. A motion to approve the Equestrian Center horse boarding agreement. Now this is something, I'm not sure if they had an old agreement, but if they did, it wasn't anything like as comprehensive as this. We had, it's well written, it's really nice. And it's just, these are the conditions for boarding your horse at the Equestrian Center.
Yeah, and there's about 35 horses over there.
Oh, a lot, yeah, I think something like that. And they don't call it a herd for nothing. Excuse me, only they're owned by a lot of different people. GRF owns a few of the horses over there. Yeah. They were donated to us or whatever. So anyway, the horse boarding agreement looks at everybody and considers the rights and of everybody and the responsibilities of everybody, and it is pretty comprehensive. And the last one I got on here, good, is the garden center fees increase. If you remember, you must remember, a few months ago we finalized the increased fees for the golf course, and then the next one on the list, we've directed staff. Our treasurer has he's really a process man, and he's developed a process for addressing fees on X number of years basis. I'm not sure, and I don't want to say on TV but it's
right. There's a formula
obtainable.
To it.
Yeah. There's common sense to it, and anyway, so now it was the turn for the garden center people, and they've had a little bump in their fees. It looks like a big bump, but the fee's still fairly small. I don't have the list with me, but I think it's a $15 increase per annum, so that's a little over $1 a month. Yeah. Right. Now, percentage-wise, that's a big bump because it went from 57 plus 15, and that's a big bump. Right. But that again, it's all been looked at, and the percentages, and there's logic to all of it. And that's and all of those were passed unanimously. We have a
right, and that's why it's so important that our members, attend not only their condo and co-op association, but that they also are at the Golden Rain Foundation meetings, which are held on Tuesdays, the first Tuesday. And you all get, have your input regarding this. And of course, we've seen that, right? When usually when golf fees go up, the room gets filled up in some other popular amenities. But it's important that we have that interaction with the members.
Oh, it absolutely is important. It absolutely is important. And we just go back again and we just go back again. And nobody can make everybody happy all the time, but we can certainly try.
Absolutely.
You know, and that interface is very important.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us today on the program. We know you have a lot of hard work in front of you, and we're looking forward to the new year in 2023. And we'll see you again here on Village Television.
Well, I hope so.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with Lisa Hart and some information regarding RadNet.